जितने भी पेपर, जितने भी वेरिएंट्स से we are done with them. Okay, 2024. So you people almost, this is why I'm emphasizing कि आप लोग, if you do these question papers regularly alongside with me, you will be covering almost 40 past papers. ठीक है ना? Because I'm targeting both the variants, May, June, October, November. All the variants, 1-1, 1-2, 2-1, 2-2. Okay, all of these. So you will have the confidence when you are sitting in your examination hall that you have done a lot, right? And you can do the questions whichever they appear, whatever format they appear. So we are going to start with this. This is the specimen paper 1. अब specimen paper क्या करते हैं कि whenever there is a revised syllabus, they give a specimen paper like this, and this is the outline of what you are going to get. Okay, so जो भी आपका syllabus revise हुआ था, this is the outline of it. The format, the style, the difficulty level, इसी के इर्द गिर्द वो पेपर तैयार करेंगे आप लोग, right? So don't focus on अच्छा वो पेपर लीक हो गया, ये पेपर लीक हो गया, until and unless बाकी कोई वो which is I don't know, nowadays they usually do leak as well. Lekin don't focus on that, don't waste your time on that. Just focus on the format of this paper. क्योंकि आपके जो आगे papers हम करेंगे वो भी इसी के इर्द गिर्द revolve करेंगे. Now the first one over here, write 2.70486 correct to 3 decimal places, and this is a non-calculator version, so don't use your calculator even for the simplest calculations. If you are attempting a question, do not stop for me, keep on attempting the questions. Okay? So 3 decimal places. The first 3 decimal places, I can highlight it over here. These are the 3 decimal places. You have to see, look at the neighboring digit. If it's 5 or greater than 5, it will give one number to the left. So this will be 2.705. Next, simplify this, and we have to see they are already like terms. So what we have to do is, according to board mass or bit mass, we add them first. So 10y plus 3y, and then we add them 13y. Third, write down the mode. Okay. So I just got, I was just done with the statistics class, and there were notes in short form. Let me see if I have it right over here. So, yes, this is what we were doing. So whenever we are dealing with group data, what we have to focus on is the averages, mean, median, mode, range. All of them are averages, right? They will be positioned on y-axis, yeah, frequency column, if we are dealing with the frequency table, and values will exist on the x-axis. Okay. So for this, it's a grouped form. To figure out the mode of it, I have to see the bar with the highest frequency. Okay. Highest frequency exists over here. So this is your mode. The value lies on the x-axis. Highest frequency. So it shouldn't be this value 6, because frequency just tells you how many times a thing occurs. Okay. So this over here is the value 9. Okay, work out the total number of students in the group. So total number of students means whenever we are dealing with the formula, for example, like this over here, in which we are talking about n. Okay? N is the total number of observations. Okay? It's the same as sum of all frequencies. N is sum of all frequencies. And when we are dealing with cumulative frequency, that is again sum of all frequency, the highest cumulative frequency. Okay. We can right now we are just dealing with frequencies. So we can see over here the first bar. What is the frequency? 2 plus second 3 frequencies for the 1, then 3 again plus 5. Okay, then 6 and then 5. So we add all these and we get the value. That is 25. Find the median score. To find the median score, because it's a grouped form of data, it's not a raw data. इसमें हमें frequency and score दिया हुआ है on the graph. We will be preferring this formula, n plus 1 over 2. Just as I have discussed, n is the number of all frequencies. Now, this formula again, as I wrote over there, that for averages, all the positioning will be on the y-axis and their value will exist on the x-axis. So this formula gives us the position of the median. Position of median. N, which is 25 plus 1, 26 divided by 2. That is the 13th position. So this formula is telling us that your median value exists on the 13th position. How do you figure out the 13th position? So we can see that students who scored 4 marks, they are 2 students. 1, 2, right? Frequency से आपको पता चलता है. Scoring 5, there are how many students? 3 students. So total कितने हो गए? 5. 6, 1, 6. For 7, we have 3 students. Okay. And we have to figure out how many of these? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is the 13th position. And this 13th position is against which value on the x-axis? Yes. Ishan?
8.
8. So your value for median score is 8. Okay. Next. And still you can stop me wherever you think you are getting confused or you have a question, you can stop me and ask. Okay. For those whose cameras are switched off, switch it on. I won't warn you again and again. Switch it on. Switch it on, Trevor. Zaina, Ishan, Javeria, Mohammed Amir. Switch it on. Okay. The scale drawing shows the position of town A and town B. Town B is due north of town A. Town B is in the northern direction of due north of town A. Okay. So the scale for the drawing is 1 centimeter to 5 centimeter. For construction, you have to check on this. Sometimes the scale is given, so you have to convert. Sometimes the scale is not given. So you have to use the exact same values. Right over here, the scale is given. They are saying 1 centimeter is representing 5 kilometers. Town C lies to the east of the line AB. Town C lies towards the east of the line AB. East over here. We can't draw it over here. Left पे नहीं कर सकते, west पे नहीं कर सकते. It is 25 kilometers from town A and 40 kilometers from town. So what we are going to do is we have to figure out the distance of C, town C from A first. So A, and I am going to convert this into centimeters. From A in centimeters, we don't know. but in kilometers it's 25. So using the same scale, I can just say that A is equal to, from A, it's 25 by 5, which is 5 centimeters. Now what I'm going to do is place the compass on A, open your compass, 5 centimeters, and place at A. Then draw an arc towards the east, not this side. You can't draw an arc. So you have to draw an arc like this over here. It's a random arc like this. Draw an arc like this. Then they are saying 40 kilometers from B. So 40 kilometers from B. So using the same scale, that 1 centimeter represents 5 kilometers. So the distance from town B in centimeters we don't know, but in kilometers it's 40. So again, cross multiplying it, the distance from B I can get by 40 divided by 5. 8 centimeters. That means I have to place the compass at B. Open the compass 8 centimeters. Place at B. And draw an arc. Where should I draw an arc? It should be drawn such that it is intersecting the previous arc. Okay? Like this. If they're not intersecting, then you can just extend the arc. Sometimes it happens. So draw an extensive arc. ये arcs जो हैं ये आपने छोटी नहीं बनानी, ये बेशक बड़ी arcs बना लेना इस तरह, right? ताकि intersection, there is a point of intersection. So it should be somehow like this, I guess, you know. Just join the lines. This is your town C. I have drawn it randomly. You should be drawing it accurately. Share your paper. Share your drawing. जल्दी मुझे जो भी आप लोगों ने ड्रॉ किया है, giving you a minute, share it with me. Okay, start sharing. Be quick. Ismail, good. That's correct. Okay. Shape इस तरह बन रही है because I have just drawn it randomly. I have to check and then I'll correct the shape. Yes, Vijay, share your graphs with me. Be quick. Is there anyone जिसको समझ नहीं आई? Then I have to use a pencil and a compass. Is there anyone?
I don't understand.
Okay, that's fine. Let me just paper, compass, pencil. Blank paper, कोई भी paper. So wait, Vijay, let me draw it for you. So I'm going to stop the screen sharing, and I'm just going to open the camera so that you can see. दूसरा पेपर नहीं, प्रिंटर वाला बहुत खराब है. So I'm so I have to open the camera over here. Okay, let's see. Pen B, right? Pen, pen. It should be. Wait. Can you see? Let me highlight it as well. Yes. Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Is it dark or is it fine?
It's blurry.
Very good. Is it fine now?
Yes.
So over here I can see the question. आप लोगों के पास भी access है. Now they have drawn line AB like this, right? So I'm not concerned about it. How, what is the length of it? I'm just telling you कि आप लोग किस तरह draw करें. So let's say this is line AB. Point A and point B. Okay. Now we have calculated using the scale. Did you understand that? Using the scale, that
Yes.
distance of C from A is how many centimeters? 5 centimeters, right? So I'm going to open the compass 5 centimeters. Let me show it to you. I'm going to open the compass 5 centimeters like this. Five centimeters. Okay. The compass is 5 centimeters. Do not change your compass setting. Keep it as it is. Place it at A. Place the nib over here at A and draw an arc. Extensive arc बना लेना बेशक खैर है. You can erase it later on. It should be an extensive because you want to cut this arc with the other one. Next, for point B, what was the scale? It was 8 centimeters, right? So I'm going to open the compass 8 centimeters now. Eight centimeters. Okay. Place it at B and draw an arc, another arc. See, had it been a smaller arc, then the intersection won't happen, right? So you have to make an extensive arc so that there is a point of intersection. Wherever the point of intersection is, just join it towards that point of intersection from A and from B. Like this and like this. Is that clear? This is your point C. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes. Who was Mahin? Was it you? Yes, Mahin. Was it you?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. It's clear.
Okay, good. Now, for the next part, they're saying you measure the bearing of town C from town A. So, from town A, that means the north of A. Okay. So, this over here, point B is due north of A already. So, that means your north is over here in this direction. And if I want to figure out the bearing of it, the north, right? If I want to figure out the bearing of it, I have to start from the north of A till I reach this line. This is the angle required. So the bearing of town C from town. So you place your compass protractor over here, like this. Align it with the line, the north. Okay. And I'm going to see this is the 0, the upper scale, starting, and it's a little bit greater than 90 degrees over here. I have drawn it roughly. So my angle is around 95, 94. 94. So the bearing you are going to answer, you are going to write 094. Is that clear? You might have a different answer than this. Maheen, what answer are you getting for this one?
Give me a second. I need to calculate it.
You haven't done it?
No, I'm doing.
So complete it. Let me share the screen now. Is there anyone still confused? This is basic level of construction, which is part of your syllabus. LOSA is out. Eba, let me check yours. Good. Well done. That's correct. Well done. That's correct. Right? Got it. So the actual drawing should be like this. Because it was not up to scale, it should be like this. Somehow over here, your point C will be coming somewhere over here. Like this. Next, write down the reciprocal of 9. Reciprocal, we just change the numerator to denominator, denominator to numerator, so 1 over 9. Next, work out this over here, decimal multiplication. So, those who struggle with this, just multiply the numbers 4 into 2, that is 8, and then count the decimal. 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places. So 0.08. This one over here. Again, what we are supposed to do over here, first, let's change this division sign to multiplication. So we have to take reciprocal of this. Then multiply them first. Don't add them. So we can cancel this out. We have 4 over 7 and then add them. 1 by 3 plus 4 over 7. For that, we have to have a common denominator, which should be the least common multiple of 3 and 7, which is 21. That means I have to change this 3 to a 21. So I multiply it by 7. Both the numerator and denominator. I have to change this 7 to 21. So multiply both the numerator and denominator with 3. So we have 21 and this 7 plus 12. We have 19 by 21. Show some steps, even if it's a basic calculation. If the marks are more than 1, show some steps like this. Factorize this over here. We have to take common. 3a is common, so 4b minus a. That's your answer. Question number 8. Now, Maya has a spinner with 4 sections numbered 1 to 4. She spins the spinner 200 times. Her results are shown in the table. Number of spinner, 1, right? So out of 200, how many times it lands on 1? It's 25. How many times it lands on 2? It's 70, like that. So write down the relative frequency of the number of spinner landing on. Relative frequency for those who still struggle with this is the same as you calculate the probability. So favorable outcome, the frequency of the one they are referring to, divided by the total frequency. Okay. So the spinner landing on 2, that is 70. So 70 by 200. You can keep your answer like this, or you can write it as 7 by. Now, Maya says that this relative frequency is a good estimate for the probability of the spinner landing on 2. Explain why she is correct. Why is that so? Because she spins the spinner a large amount of time. Had it been 10, 20, 30, that is a smaller sample space. Okay. Because she is using 200 times, that's a larger sample space. That is why the estimate is a good estimate. Okay. So the sample space is large. Okay. So that is why she is correct. Maya spins the spinner 500 times. Find the number of times Maya should expect the spinner to land on 2. So whenever we are dealing with number of times, right, a thing is occurring, number of times. And because they are not asking for the probability of it, they're asking about the number of times it is going to happen. So we can use this number of times is the relative frequency which is just as the probability times multiply it by the times they are using the spinner. Okay, spinning the spinner. So that is 500. So we have the relative frequency as 7 by 20 multiplied by the number of times they have spun, 500. Now, 1, we have 25. So 7 times 25 is 175. Okay, next. Again, make sure your cameras are switched off. Not a good sign. Switch it on. Be quick. Switch on your cameras. Javiria, switch on your camera, Vishnu. Ishan, I won't say it again. Ishan, last warning. Mohammed Amir, switch on your camera. If there is any camera off after this question, they have to leave the class. Okay, so you have to unpick them. The equation of line P. The equation of line P, and once I remove a person, it's very hard to join them. Okay. Here I have to end the meeting, which I can't do that. Switch on your cameras before this question ends. The equation of line P is 5x plus 2y is equal to 13. The equation of line Q is y is equal to 2x minus 7. Find the gradient of line P. So to figure out the gradient of line P, when the equation is already given, okay, whenever you have to find the gradient of a line and the equation is already given to you, you have to match the equation with this general form of linear equation. If it's already matching this, then it's fine. You just look at the coefficient of x, and that's your gradient. If it's not matching this, then you have to make y the subject first. Okay. So over here, I can see that p is equal to 5x plus 2y is equal to 13. So we have to make y the subject first. First, make y the subject. Why? So that we can match it with the general form. So 2y is equal to minus 5x plus 13. Now y is equal to, I'm going to divide both these by 2. There is an x over here as well. Okay. Now matching it with the general form, I can figure out that the coefficient of x is So that was the first step. Second step will be match it with the general form, which is y is equal to mx plus c. So you can see your gradient is negative 5 by 1. Find the coordinates of P point. Find the coordinates of the point of intersection of line Q with the x-axis. The line of the point of intersection of the line Q with the x-axis. That means if the line Q is coming towards x-axis and it intersect, there is an intersection over there. That means your value of y will be 0. So all I have to do is write the equation of Q, and when y is equal to 0, find out the value of x. So 2x minus 7 and x is equal to negative 7 by negative 2, that is 7 by 2. So when x is 0, when y is 0, your value of x is 7 by 2. That's your point of intersection with the x-axis. Find the coordinates of the point of intersection of line P and line Q. So whenever, as we discussed in the lecture as well, that whenever two lines intersect, solution lies at that point. Okay, solution lies where the lines intersect. Let me write it again. Solution lies where the lines intersect. So how do we figure that out? If we don't have a graph, if you have a graph, you look at the graph where the graphs intersect, that is your point of the solution. Okay, point of intersection. And if you don't have a graph, you solve them simultaneously. Solve them simultaneously. Okay. Through simultaneous equation. Okay. Elimination, substitution, these are the two methods you can use. So हमारे पास क्या था? P was 5x plus 2y is equal to 13. And you have to show steps, which is 3 marks. Okay. This is y is equal to 2x minus 7. Now, this is my first equation. This is my second equation. I have to either match them, the variables, either match them and use elimination method. But over here, the preferred method will be substitution. Why? Because you can see that y is already made the subject. If y is already made the subject, rather than wasting time on rearranging the equation, it's better to just replace this y with that. Okay? So I can say substitute y is equal to 2x minus 7 into equation 1. So into the equation 1, instead of y, I will write 2x plus 2x minus 7 plus 2 times 2x minus 7. You can use elimination method. Again, the answer will be correct, but you might waste some time rearranging stuff. So we have 4x minus 14 is equal to 13. So we have 9x is equal to 27 and x is equal to 3. Now substitute x is equal to 3 into the simpler equation. So whichever equation is simpler, use that. That is a wiser decision. Why? You will save time. So equation number 2 is simpler. That is why I'll replace x is equal to 2 into equation number 2. So y is equal to 2 times 3 minus 7, 6 minus 7, and we have minus 1. So x is 3 and y is minus 1. Okay. Right. So I'm done with the question. Is there anyone with the camera off? Let's see. Muhammad Amir Vishay, you are about to leave. Is there any reason your camera is off? Muhammad Amir,
नो सर, मैं दूसरी डिवाइस से ज्वाइन करता हूँ.
जल्दी करो, जल्दी करो. Be quick. Question number 10. Now you can expect first, if you have seen the past papers, you can expect P1 to be a bit lengthy, right? You might get short on time. Why? Because the calculation might get complex, थोड़ी सी complex हो सकती है, okay, compared to the previous versions of P1. So that is why I discourage you people to even don't use a calculator for simple equations. If you think कि आप लोग छोटी सी calculations के लिए calculator use करके exam में you won't feel the pressure, you are wrong also. Don't use your calculator at all for P1. Mobile calculators, anything. The diagram shows a container in the shape of a prism with an open top. Open top, just highlight it so that you don't get confused or you don't forget what they are saying about the shape. The cross section of the prism ABCD is a trapezium. Okay, so whenever they say cross section means that if I cut this shape from the top, I will always get a trapezium out of it, a 2D shape, which is a trapezium. And for prism, the base is identical and parallel ends. So the only shape you can see which is parallel and identical to each other is a trapezium over here. So the base of this shape is a trapezium. Okay. जो भी आपको cross section बताया होता है, you can use that as a base. So the cross section of the prism ABCD is a trapezium. AB is 14. Achha, BF is this. The height of the container is 8. Okay. The height of the container is 8. Calculate the area of the trapezium ABCD. Area of trapezium. Area of trapezium will be 1 by 2 times sum of parallel sides times the height. Which height? Don't get confused between heights. एक तो ये height है, right? और एक ये height. Over here, because they are referring to a 2D shape, so I'll be using the height of the trapezium. Height between parallel lines. Perpendicular distance. Between parallel lines. So I'm referring to this over here. Parallel lines. This is a parallel line and this is a parallel. And the perpendicular distance is 8. So 1 by 2. Sum of parallel sides. The first one. 26 plus 14. These two are parallel sides. Times the height. Height is 8. So work it out. Work it out. This will be, we can cancel this out. 4, then we have 30, 40. So 40 times 4, that is 160. One 160 centimeters. Now, calculate the capacity of the container in liters. The capacity of the container in liters. Capacity is another word for, just as I've told you in the previous past papers as well, surface area, consider it like this. You have a paintbrush you want to paint this shape. So all those 2D surfaces you are shading, you are painting will be the surface area. Okay, you can paint this rectangle, you can paint this trapezium, that trapezium, this rectangle, and this rectangle, right? All these are surface areas. For volume, volume is whatever this shape can contain. Okay, so volume is related to capacity. Volume, capacity. So basically, they are asking us to figure out the volume of this. Volume will be base area times height. Base area times. Which is solve it. I'll be back in a minute. Okay. Junaid, ये बंद कर दो. Okay. So I was now the capacity volume base area into height. यहाँ पे हम base area किसको consider करेंगे? Zaina, what should I consider the base area over here? Which shape should I consider the base? Zaina, be quick. Yes, Zaina?
Um, uh, the trapezium.
Good. Because the cross section over here is a trapezium. Okay. The parallel and identical ends are trapezium. So area of trapezium, volume is equal to area of trapezium times the height. Which one is the height? Height will be, again, that is why I have to differentiate between the height of a trapezium and the height of the shape. The height of this shape will be perpendicular distance between the two bases, right? In this case, trapezium. The perpendicular distance between these two trapezium will be 30. Okay, so the height will be 30 over here. So we have the area of trapezium 160 times 30. What do we have? We have 4800. Okay. Just multiply 16 and 3 and you can add the zeros. 4800. Okay, wait, that's not your final answer. Calculate the capacity in liters. Okay. So you have to understand this, that 1 centimeter, this is centimeter cube. And we have the units, which is 1 centimeter cube is the same as 1 milliliters. And 1 liter is 1000 milliliter. 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliter. So to convert it, that means we are dealing with 4800 milliliters. To convert it, I just have to divide it by 1000. For those who get confused, you can just use proportions. How many liters will be equivalent to 4800 milliliters? Proportions, cross multiply, x is equal to 4800 by 1000. So 4.8 liters. Be very careful with such kind of calculations. Yes, Ram. Calculate the total surface area of the inside of the container, right? Inside of the container. So let me take a screenshot of this. So the total surface area of the inside of the container. Now, what do we have? In order to, first let me make a statement. Whenever you are dealing with such kind of mensuration questions, 2D, 3D, always make a statement so that you don't get confused later on. So the statement will be total surface area is equal to is there anyone who struggled with such kind of questions? Yes, be quick, Cindy, so that I can ask them and explain. Okay, Hiba,
Yes.
for surface area, I told you, imagine you have a paintbrush, right? And you want to paint the inside of this shape. How many shapes can you paint? How many shapes can you paint?
Yes, sir. 2.
This is just 2. Can you paint the inside of this trapezium?
Yes.
Can you paint the inside of this trapezium?
Yes.
So how many trapezium do we have?
2.
2 trapezium. Okay. So 2 trapezium. Can you paint this rectangle at the bottom over here?
Yes.
Okay. So area of rectangle. Area of rectangle, that is BAEF. This rectangle BAEF plus what else? Can you paint this over here, this rectangle?
Yes.
Okay, so area of rectangle, that is CBFG. Okay. Plus, can you paint this rectangle over here at the other side?
Yes.
So area of rectangle, that is AEHD. And can I paint the top as well?
No,
No, why?
because it's open.
Good, well done. Right? So this consists of your total surface area. Now see whatever information do you have. Okay. So true trapezium, you had the area for that. Do you?
We have the area of
What was the area?
160.
160. So 2 times 160 plus area of rectangle. Okay. Now looking at this, see when you make a statement, you can easily figure out what is missing in that. So in this rectangle BAEF, this one over here, I have 30 and 14. You know? Right? So 13 and 14 plus rectangle CBFG, this one over here, this rectangle. For this, I have the length, but do I have the width?
No.
ये तो नहीं है ना हमारे पास,
No.
but they have made a sign over here, and I think over there they mentioned as well, right, that this length over here is equivalent to this length. Okay, I can find this length by splitting this like this. The perpendicular distance from this parallel line to this parallel line, what is that? The perpendicular distance from AB to CD. What is the length? 8. Is it the same as well? No? 8.
Yes.
All these are 8, right? This perpendicular distance. And if this is 14 and this whole length is 26, this whole length is 26, out of which this much is 14. How much is left?
12.
12. I can split them equally. So that means this is 6, this is also 6. Is that clear?
Yes.
And this portion is 12. This is 12, that is 6, this is 6. Do we have a right angle triangle?
Yes.
Can I find this angle length CB?
Yes.
That's it. Find it. So I'm writing it over here. Let's say this is X. Okay. So X, B, C. This is 6, this is 8, and we have to find this. So CB square is equal to 6 square plus 8 square. So CB is equal to under root of 36 plus 64, which is 100. So under root of 100, we have 10 centimeters. That means this is 10, this is also 10. Okay. Now I can use that for this rectangle over here, 30 by 10. That other one is also the same, 30 by 10. Now you can figure out the answer. Work it out. So 2 times 160, that is 320, plus 30 by 14, that should be 420, plus this 300, plus 300. So we have 912 and 912. Okay, 1340. My bad. 1340. It's a 6-mark question, Muchi. If you skip steps, you will lose marks. Ismail, are you listening? Yes?
सर मैंने की हुई है
Good. Good. Okay, a mathematically similar container has a height has a height of 16 centimeters. Calculate the total surface area of the inside of the container with height 16 centimeters. Right? Mathematically similar. Okay. When they use this term, mathematically similar, that means the relation of areas will be A1 over A2. The area of the first one over the area of the second one, the ratio of it will be L1 over L2 whole square. These lengths can be any lengths, corresponding lengths, right? But you have to consider the corresponding lengths. So a mathematically similar container has a height of 16 centimeters. Calculate the total surface area of the inside of the container with height 16 centimeters. So rather than going through all this process, all I can do is, let's say A1 is the one over there. Okay. So A1, 1340. A2, you have to figure it out. So 1340 over A2 L1, the length of the first one. The length of the first was, sorry, the height of the first one was 8. The height of the container, that was 8. And the second one they are saying is 16 whole square. Now simplify it rather than squaring it. So 1 by 2. So this would be 1340 over 82 is equal to 1 by 4. Now 4 times 1340 is that should be 1340 times 4. Don't use your calculators, usually. 6, 1, 12, 13. And this should be 536. Okay. Okay, next. So this is question number 11. Gray squares and white squares are used to make pattern in a sequence. The first 3 patterns in the sequence are shown. Pattern 4 is incomplete. So what you can do is over here, look over here, 3, they are filling the top row. So you can fill that up. This is the pattern. And then the center row, the center column, that is also filled. Okay. And you can see the pattern between them as well. A single white, 4 white, 4 white. So in total 8. And we have 9, 9, 18. Okay. So there is a pattern to it. Now for the first one, they're saying complete the table for pattern in the sequence. So there is a common difference we can notice over here. If we add 3 to it each time, the next 3 again. So we get 13 over. 3 again, 16 over. Now for this one, and I can mention over here, it's a linear sequence. The next one, I can see that the difference over here is of positive 6. Then we have a difference of positive 10, right? And then what should be the difference? We can see by looking at this, we have 4 and 4, 8. We have 9 and 9, 18. And we have 16 and 16, which should be 32. So this one is 32. So that means the next difference is of 14 plus 40. Now we can also identify that what is happening here is each time the second difference is common. So that means the difference between 6 and 10 is of 4. The difference between 10 and 14 is of 4 again. So that means the next difference should be of 18. Okay. So we have 32 plus 18, which is 50. So the second difference is common over here. And if the second difference is common, we can always use the formula. I'm going to write the formula later on because I encourage you to look at a sequence and try to form a sequence rather than just applying the formula. That is a bit time consuming. So write an expression in terms of n for the number of gray squares in pattern n. So for the number of gray squares, what we can do is pattern number. It's a formula for that. Formula for linear sequence in which the first term is 4. The common difference for the linear sequence is 3. So we have 4 plus 3n minus 3, which is 4, 3n plus 1. That's your formula for the number of gray squares. Write an expression in terms of n for the number of white squares in pattern n. So what we are going to do, let me first explain that we can always, most of the time, identify a link between sequences, right? So for example, when we are dealing with such kind of sequences where the numbers are jumping, the values increases rapidly. Values are increasing rapidly. So we can do two things. The first one, compare to a square sequence, square number, or cube number sequence. The second one, we can compare to an exponential sequence. Exponential number sequence. So for exponential number sequence, we have one thing that from one term to another term, there will be a common fixed number being multiplied. So 2 times 4, that is 8. 8 times 2. 8 times 4 is 32. So we can see that there is no fixed number which is multiplied from term to term. So this cannot be an exponential sequence, right? Like for a fixed base. We have other sequences such as the square number and cube numbers. We can use that. We can compare it. So let's say we have the first value, first term, second, third, fourth, fifth. These are the number of terms. So to figure out the original square number sequence, we just square the number of terms. So 1 square, 1, 2 square, that is 4, 3 square, 9, 16, and 25. Now, the nth term of this will be, like the formula for this should be n squared. That we square any term and we are going to get a square number. The same way, I have to find the formula, the nth term of the number of white squares. So number of white squares. What is the sequence? The sequence was 2, 8, 18, 32, and 15. Now, looking at this, we can obviously see a link. What is that? How do we get from 1 to 2? We have two options, either add 1 or multiply by 1. So we have to see a sequence for the other one. If I add 1 to 4, that will be 5, not 8. So let's multiply it. Multiply by 2, we get 2. 4 multiplied by 2, we get 8. 9 multiplied by 2. Okay, that was 18. Not 16, 18, right? So 16 times 2, that is 32. And 25 times 2, that is 50. So we can obviously figure that out, that the next term is n squared times 2. So the formula for this will be n 2n squared, like this. The second method, obviously, I'm going to explain that as well. We can use the formula. What is that formula? And for that formula, you should have a second common difference. As you can see, that the second common difference is common over here. So I can use that formula. But the only issue is with that is that it is a bit time consuming, right? You will do some extra steps to that. So a plus n minus 1 times d plus c by 2 n minus 1 n minus 2. And this over here, this is the second common difference. Second difference is common. As you can see, positive 4. D is the first difference. It's not common, but it's just the first difference. In this case, it is 6. This one. Then A is the first term of the sequence. Pattern 10 and pattern 11 in the sequence are made from gray square and white square. Pattern 10 and pattern 11 are made from gray square and white squares. Find the difference between the total number of squares needed to make pattern 10 and the total number of squares needed to make pattern 11. Gray squares and white squares. The nth term represents the formula of that sequence. Okay, nth term just tells you the formula of that sequence. Gray square, nth term. What was that? For the white one, the nth term was 2n square. All I have to do is find the 10th pattern, pattern 10, and pattern 11. So I have to replace this 10 and 11 instead of n. So for the gray one, it should be 3 times. 3 times 10 plus 1. So 30 plus 1, 31. For the white one, it should be 2 times n square. 2 times 10 square, which should be 200. Okay. So what should be the total of it? The total is 231. For pattern 11, again, I'm going to just replace this n with 11. So 3 times 11 plus 1, 33 plus 1, that is 34. Over here, 2 times 11 whole square. This is why I told you people to remember, if you can, square numbers from 1 till 15. If you can remember, you will save your time. Otherwise, you have to multiply it like this. Okay? If you remember, you will save your time. So we have 121 times 2, we have 240. Now the total of it, 67276. And they are saying find the difference between the total of squares needed to make pattern 10 and total number of squares needed to make pattern 11. So the difference between that, 276 minus 231 is 45. Difference. Is that clear? 3-mark question. Show some working. Yes, which is that clear? Javeria, is that clear? Mahmood? Okay. Yes, Mahmood, are you clear? Okay. Pattern K in the sequence needs 61 gray squares. Find the number of white squares needed to pattern K. So pattern K, over here, they are saying that pattern K in the sequence needs 61 gray squares. Find the number of white squares needed for pattern K. So this should be gray again. And the nth term for that gray one was 3n plus 1. So they have mentioned over here that for pattern K, the gray there are 61 gray squares. So they have just mentioned the number of gray squares. So 61 is equal to 3k plus 1. I can find this information. I can find the value of k using this information. So 3k plus 1 is equal to 61 and k is equal to 60 over 3, that is 20. That means they are talking about pattern number 20. Pattern number 20. Okay. The value of k is 20. That means they are talking about pattern number 20. So white ones, we have the nth term, which is n2 n squared. So how many white will be needed? 2 times 20 whole square. So we have 400. 2 times 400. And this will be 800. Is that clear? Anyone with a question? We figured out the pattern number. Yes, Ismail, ask. Ismail, which you ask?
सर मैंने वर्किंग यही की है लेकिन मैंने के नहीं डाला एन रखे रखा तो सही है.
You got the answer right?
यस सर.
Can you share it with me as well?
सर मैं कह रहा हूँ मैंने आपका ही वाला फॉलो किया बस के नहीं डाला.
मतलब k की वैल्यू नहीं लिखी आप.
सर मैंने 3 एन ही रहने दिया.
3 अच्छा 3 any that's fine, कोई मसला नहीं. बस ये कोशिश किया करो बच्चे, whenever they are referring over here k, use the value k, right? आपने लिखा होगा n is equal to 20, right? Yes, या ये भी नहीं लिखा? ये लिखा है कि
सर
नहीं लिखा?
लिखे. सर लिखे.
ओके, ठीक है, that's fine. Now, question number 12. The position vector of point A is 2, -2, 3. AB is equal to this. AB is equal to BC. ठीक है, ये उन्होंने आपको information दे दी है. And then find the position vector of point C. So I can use this information, okay, to find the position vector of C. One thing we mentioned before was okay, the coordinates of a point is the same as, okay, they are just talking about the position vector, but that's fine. The same as the position vector. Not needed over here, but still position vector of a point. I thought they were asking the coordinates of points. So even if they in a question they say find the coordinates of point C, so you find the position vector of point C, and that is your coordinates, right? So if they ask some in any particular instance, they ask coordinates of C, it will be the same as the position vector. How do we figure out the position vector? I can split a vector into its position vector starting from a fixed point. So let's say that O is this fixed point, so OB and OC. Always split a vector like this. In this, the first one comes out to be a negative value always. This one will be positive always. Okay. And we have discussed this in detail in class. So still, if somebody is confused, they can drop a message. OC minus OB. Okay. They have given us the information that AB is equal to BC. So whatever value of AB is, that is the same value of BC over here. Now to figure this out, BC I do have the value, this same value. And for OB, I still need to figure out what OB is, and then we can find OC. So let me first write AB is equal to BC, and that is 5 minus 1, the same value. Now, if I split AB into its position vectors, so again, OA and OB. The first one is going to be a negative always this one a positive. So OB minus OB. I have the value of AB. I can figure out the value of OB. So OB is equal to, rearrange it, AB plus, using this, 5 minus 1, OA is minus 2. So OB will be 5 plus minus 2, that is 3. And minus 1 plus 3, that is positive. This value I can use over here. And to figure out OC, I have to rearrange this. So BC plus OB. BC over here is 3, 2. OB is, sorry, BC was 5 minus 1. And this is 3, 2. Add them, 8 and 1. OC. Okay. Next, write 0.3 recurring as a fraction in its simplest form. Recurring decimal to fractions. We discussed the other method as well in class, but the shorter for those who haven't or who skipped a lesson for this, always consider the first value to be x. Make equations. The first equation is 0.2333. I'm expanding it so that we know which value is recurring. Now, the goal is to eliminate those digits which are recurring, which are repeating. Okay? Eliminate, goal is to eliminate repeating digits, recurring digits. In this case, I have to eliminate all the threes. For that, make equations. This is the first equation. Now make equations with multiplying each time by 10, 100, 1,000, and so on, right? So 10 times x should be 2.3333 recurring. This is the second equation. And I can see if I subtract these two values after the decimal, the three are not aligned. In the first one, it's 233, and in the second one, it's 333, right? So I have to align these decimals. Let's multiply it with another one, 100. So this will be 23, and you have to multiply the original 23.333. I can see which two equations will eliminate the recurring digits. The first, second, third, first, third, कौन सी वाली? Anyone?
Second and third.
Second and third. So 100x, 23.33, and 10x, 2.33. I can see the recurring digits are aligned perfectly and they will eliminate. So when I subtract them, this will cancel out with this. Okay, that's our goal. So we have 90x over here, and this will be 21. So x is equal to 21 over 90. They are in the table of 3. So 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 30 is 90. So 7 by 30. That's your answer. Is there anyone who want to ask any questions? No? Eva, got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's move on. Question number 14. Okay, question number 14. ABCD. We have to speed up a bit. ABCD are points on the circumference of a circle. EF is a tangent to the circle at C. EF is a tangent to the circle at C. Angle BAD is equal to 68, right? And this is 50, right? Find angle CBD. C, B, and D. This over here. This angle is required. Okay, to figure out this angle, I can see, and they are saying to use geometrical properties, circle properties, circle theorems to explain each step of your working. So, the first one, let's see. We can say that this angle over here is the same as this angle. Why? According to alternate segment theorem. Alternate segment theorem. So I'm not going to write the whole. According to alternate segment theorem, the angle between a chord, this chord, a chord, and the tangent, which is 50, is the same as the angle made from this chord, this pink chord, onto the circumference. So you can see an angle is being made from this chord. The only angle made from this chord is at, let me highlight it, this point B towards the circumference and this point C towards the circumference. Again, saying it, angle between the tangent and a chord, 50 over here, is the same as the angle made from that chord onto the circumference. Is that clear? Okay. So this will be also 50. So I'm going to write CDB is equal to 50 because of alternate segment. So BC is equal to BDC is equal to 50 degrees. Why? Alternate segment. Next, we have to figure out this angle. Let's see. This one over here. How do we figure this angle out? If I can look at the bigger picture, this over here is a cyclic quadrilateral. All points are touching this ABCD shape. All points are touching the circumference. So that makes this angle and these two angles, the sum will be equal to 180 supplementary angles, right? So BCD is equal to 180 minus 68, which is 112. And why? What is the reason? Opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral. It's a 5-mark question, Vijay. Proper statements. Opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral. And last one, CBD. You can easily work it out. Now that you have these two angles in a triangle, you can see this triangle BCD. We can find the third angle. That is CBD is equal to 180 minus 50 and 112. Subtract 50 and 112 from 180, you get 18 degrees. Why? Because this is the third angle in a triangle. third angle in a triangle. Okay. Done for this question. Write 25 power negative 3 by 2. We have a negative power. So when we have a negative power, we take a reciprocal of the base term, right? So this will be 1 over 25 power 3 by 2. The power became positive. When you take a reciprocal of the base term, the power becomes positive. Now, I can write 25 as 5 square. So I will write it as 1 over 5 square whole power 3 by 2. Now, the power outside the bracket multiplies with power inside the bracket. So 2 into 3 by 2. The 2 and 2 cancels out, and we are left with 5 cube. So we have 1 over 5 cube, which is the same as 1 over 125. Next, question 16. We are given a universal set. Universal set is given to us, right? The first thing you have to do if you are dealing with a question related to sets, convert these symbols, alphabets, right, wordings to numbers so that there is no more confusion. So according to this, they are saying X is such that X is between the values 6 and 10. Okay. X is greater than or equal to, that means 6 is included, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So convert these these symbols to numbers. Now B, again, convert it into numbers. X is such that X is a factor of 18. So I'm going to use this universal set. I'm not going to go beyond this universal set. And I have to look for the factors of 18 in this universal set. Those numbers which can completely divide 18. 1 can divide it, 2 can, 3 can, 6 can, and 9 can. Right? There are other factors, but I won't go beyond this universal set. See, that should be X is such that X is a square number. So again, square numbers in this universal set 1, 4, and 9. These are square numbers. Now complete the Venn diagram. Completing the Venn diagram, I have to see. Start with the most common. Is there any number which is common in all three of these sets? I can see a 9. Good. Is there any number which is common between A and C only? No? Is there any?
No.
A and C? No. Except 9, there is no other. So do not write a 0 over here. Those who write a 0, it's wrong. Don't have to write anything if there is no number. Okay. And B and C, apart from 9, there is
1.
1. Right? A and B, apart from 9,
6.
God. And the rest will be in the only region, right? So for A, I can see that we have 6 and 9 already mentioned. What are left is 7, 8, and 10. For B, I have 1, 6, and 9 already mentioned. So I will just write 2 and 3. For C, I have 1 and 9 already mentioned. I just have to write a 4. The numbers which are left behind and not part of any of these sets will be outside all these three sets. So we have a 5, we can't see an 11, and we can't see a 12. Okay. You can write it anywhere outside. Next, find the number of elements which are A intersection C intersection B complement. A intersection B intersection C. So A intersection C is this. They're saying exclude B from that. So if I exclude B from that, I'm left with this. Can you see any? Can you see any number of elements over here?
No.
Right? So what should I write? Yes. What should I write?
Empty set.
It's an empty set, right? But they are asking which are they asking about the element or number of
Number.
numbers? So how many numbers?
0.
0. Got it? There is a difference between elements and numbers. Next, question number 17. The time shows the times some students take to travel to school are one morning are shown in the table. The time is recorded in minutes. On the grid, complete this histogram to represent this information. So I'm going to use a histogram to complete this information. Whenever in a statistic question, they ask you, you are given continuous data. Continuous data का मतलब क्या है? Range form, range values. You have values like this, class interval, okay? And they ask you about histogram. The first thing you have to do is make a class width row or column. Okay. So over here I can make a row for class width. What is class width? Class width is upper limit in a class interval, upper limit minus lower limit. Upper limit minus lower limit. So 10 minus 5, we have 5. This one, 10, 5, 5, and this is 30. The class interval, right? Next, I have to make a frequency density. What is frequency density?
Frequency over class width.
Yes. So frequency density is frequency over class width. That will be 5 by, x by 5 for the first one. X by 5 for the second one. 1.6. For the next one, 29 by 5. So that will be 29 by 5. You can use it over here, 29 by 5. 5.8. Okay. Yes. 5.8. 5.8. Then 20 by 5, 4. And then this is half. Okay. Now, I can represent all this data on the histogram, but they are saying one thing. What is that? I have to complete this diagram. So let's do that first. The first one, they have drawn it for us. That means the frequency density is 1.6. I can figure out the value of x. Have they asked? Did they ask anywhere?
No.
Okay, no. But still, I'm just showing you. If they ask ever to find the value of x, you can say x over 5. The frequency density is the height. So 1.6 x over 5. So x is equal to 8. If they ever ask. Now, the next one, we have a bar from 10 to 20. The width should be from 10 to 20 and the height should be 1.6. Between 10 and 20, the height should be 1.6. The same height. Then the next one, a bar between 20 and 25 and the height should be 5.8. 20 and 25 and the height should be 5.8. So 5.5, 6, 7, 8. This is your bar. Next, between 25 and 30, and the height should be 4. Okay, frequency density will tell you the height of the bar. So 25 and 30, that is 4. Then 30 and 60, that is 0.5. Height is 0.5, 30 and 60. That's for histogram. Next, Jamila says the histogram shows that there are the same number of students in group 5T to 10 group. So she is referring to this group. And as in the 10 to 20. Jamila says that the histogram shows that there are the same number of students in this and this. Explain why she is wrong. Now, this height doesn't mean that the number of students will be represented by frequency, not by frequency density, right? So there are 8 people, as we see, this information came in handy. So there are 8 people in 5 to 10 group, whereas for the next one, this is what frequency determines the number of students. So for 10 to 20, the number of people are 16. There are 16 people in 10 to 20. Got it? So she is wrong. The frequency density will not determine the number of people. Frequency will determine the number of people. Okay, next one, question number 18. The diagram shows a sketch of the graph this. The graph crosses the y-axis at point this. Find the x-coordinates of point A. Now, a new addition to your syllabus, which is vertical and horizontal asymptotes. So for this one, let's do the first one. The graph crosses y-axis at point A. Find the coordinates of point A. So whenever it's crossing the y-axis, that means the value of x should be
0.
0. Y-axis, y-intercept, value of x is 0. All along this line, the value of x is 0. So I'm going to plug in the value of x as 0. And then let's see what do we have as the y-intercept. So x ki jagah 0. Anything power 0 is
1.
1. So 3 times 1 plus 5. So 3 plus 5, that is 8. So our y-intercept, the coordinates, our y-intercept is 8 and the coordinates of the point is 0 and 8. Over here, we have to understand something, that if we draw a line over here. For example, we have an equation like y is equal to 1 over x. Now this is a reciprocal. And for this, we have to have the understanding that the reciprocal graph is like this. It is going to avoid the x-axis and the y-axis, which we call the lines which the graph avoids. We call them vertical asymptotes. And horizontal asymptotes. Now, these are the two types. If we have a graph reciprocal, we will have a vertical asymptote and a horizontal asymptote. Now, for vertical asymptote, Pretty easy. We just have to put the denominator equal to 0. Put the denominator equal to 0. And that's your vertical asymptote. So in this case, x is equal to 0 is the line which the graph is avoiding. You can see vertical asymptote. This line is what the graph is avoiding. This y-axis has an equation x is equal to 0 because value of x throughout is 0. Let's say we have another kind of which is y is equal to. Okay, now one more thing about this. This can shift over here. Okay, let's deal with that related to horizontal asymptote. So let's see, we have another one. Y is equal to 1 over x minus 2. In this case, if you put the denominator equal to 0, x minus 2 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 2. This x is equal to 2 is our vertical asymptote. Vertical asymptote. Is x equal to 2. Right? That means our vertical line at x is equal to 2 is where the graph is going to avoid. That is the line which the graph will never meet. Okay. For horizontal asymptote, we have to see something. We wanted the top degree, the numerator, and the bottom degree. Which is the denominator. If the numerator value of the variable is less than the denominator, so in this case, for example, 1 over x, we can see that the numerator has x power 0 and the denominator has x power 1. So the one in the numerator has lesser power than the denominator. In this case, your horizontal asymptote is going to be 0. And they are not going to go into detail. It's just the basic knowledge for horizontal asymptote. Is y is equal to 0. For this case, you can see that the graph is avoiding this line over. Y is equal to 0. The x-axis is considered to be y is equal to 0. So the graph is avoiding this line. Now there is one more thing. If we have an addition to this, so let's say we have a graph where we have y is equal to 1 over x plus 3. In this case, you should know that the graph is going to shift 3 places upwards, and so is the horizontal asymptote going to shift 3 places upwards. Okay, so if a constant is involved in the equation, then the horizontal asymptote will change accordingly or will shift accordingly. So the graph was this. Let me bring this graph. Let's just focus on the horizontal one. So as you can see, the horizontal asymptote was here. the graph is going to shift 3 places upward like this. Let me just bring it a bit down. The graph is going to shift 3 places upward. So is the horizontal asymptote, 3 places upward. This as well, 3 places upward. So in this case, our horizontal asymptote will be y is equal to 3. For this case. Is y is equal to 3. It shifted from y is equal to 0 to y is equal to 3. Now this is the case for reciprocal graphs. We have another case as well, and that in this question, we are dealing with exponential graph. Right? So for exponential graph over here, we have no vertical asymptote over here, right? Vertical asymptote is none. Horizontal asymptote. And I'm talking about an exponential graph. Horizontal asymptote will be 0. Horizontal asymptote will be 0. The only thing which will change this is the constant, right? So for example, we have y is equal to 2 power x. The graph for that will be like this. Something like this. Over here, you can see that this is avoiding y is equal to 0 line. This is your horizontal asymptote. But if I involve, let's say we have another one, or I change this to y is equal to power x plus 2. That means this graph is going to shift 2 places upwards. If the graph is shifting 2 places upward, so is the horizontal asymptote, right? So if it shifted from y is equal to 0 to y is equal to, so let's say in this case, we are dealing with exponential graph, so no vertical asymptote, horizontal asymptote is 0, y is equal to 0. Okay. And look at the constant over here. So that means it's going to shift from y is equal to 0 to y is equal to 5. That's it. That's your horizontal asymptote. Okay. I have to be a bit quick. F of 3. If I plug in the value input as 3, that means 5 times 3, that is 15 plus 2, 17. Find f of g of f of x. Okay, when we are dealing with, and give your answer in this form. When we are dealing with composite functions, if you remember, we discussed write the function of the first letter, right? So the first letter is g. I'm going to write the function of this letter and leave a space. So x squared, I'm leaving a space for x, right? Because the input will be placed over here, minus 5. And then write the input value of the second letter, which is f. Second letter is f. So I'll plug in the whole function of f into this space, 5x plus 2. So we have 25x squared plus 10x plus 10x plus 4 minus 5. We have 25x squared plus 20x plus, sorry, minus 1. That's your answer. In that form. Solve this over here. 3 over h of f of x. Now, first, you can always split the information like that. I have to write 3 over some value which I'm going to solve separately is equal to minus 1. What am I going to solve separately? H of f of x. That way your working will be neat enough if you do it separately, and you yourself won't be confused much. So h of f of x, again, the same thing. H of f of x. I'm going to write the function of the first letter. The function of the first letter is 7 minus x. And I'm going to leave a space for x, the input. And the second letter, f of x, will go as the input into this function. So that will be 5x plus 2. So h of f of x will be 7 minus 5x minus 2. So we have 5 minus 5x. Okay. 5 minus 5x, which I can use over here. 5 minus 5x. Okay. So multiplied on the other side, this will be minus 5 plus 5x, because it's multiplied with a negative 1. Now, rearrange it. So this will be 8 is equal to 5x, and x is equal to 8 over 5. Question number 20. Question 20 over here. OACB is a parallelogram. OA is equal to 2f. Okay. This information is given. X is a point on AB such that AX is ratio XB is 3:1. So X is a point on AB. There is no line drawn for AB. So I'm drawing a line. This over here. What are they saying? I'm drawing the line AB outside as well. They're saying that X is a point on line AB such that AX ratio XB is 3:1. AX, let's say the point over here is X. And I'm representing over here so that you can have a good idea what we are talking about. AX is 3 parts, XB is 1 part. Right? 3 out of total 4 parts of the full length AB and 1 out of 4 of the total AB. So find as simply as possible in terms of F and G. AB, find AB, all we have to do is start from A and move towards B. So in the opposite direction of this and in the same direction of this. Opposite directions as the marked will have a negative value, and the same direction as marked will be positive. So 2G minus 2F. Next, XC. This point over here, XC. We have the value of AB now, and I can figure out AB, AX, and XB as well. They were saying that AB is 3/4. Sorry, AX is 3/4 of this value, and XB is 1/4 of this value. So I have the value of AX and XB, and I have the value of BC over there, which is 2F. AC is also given, 2G. It's a parallelogram, same sides. Now, XC will be, if I want to move from X towards C, I have to use this path. Either this path or the other path. It's your choice. Try to use the shorter one. So that means XB, same direction, and BC, same direction. So both will be positive. It will be XB plus BC. So XB is 1 by 4 of AB. XB is 1 by 4 of this value. 1 by 4 of 2G minus F. Plus BC is 2F. Simplify as much as you can. So this will be 1 by 2 G. This will be minus 1 by 2 F. Plus, so we have 1 by 2 G. The denominator should be the same. So this will be 1 by 2 F. Negative F plus 4. So we have 3 by 2 F, and this should be 3 by 2 F positive and 1 by 2 G. So 3 by 2 F plus 1 by 2 G. Write as a single fraction in its simplest form. The denominator should be common. So I'm taking both as common, then just multiply them with each other. 3x minus 1. We have 4x plus 8 minus 15x plus 5 over 3x minus 1, x plus 2. Now, if you want to expand the denominator, your choice. If you don't want to, that is also your choice. So, this will be 13 minus 11x. Or you can write minus 11x plus 13. Again, your choice. But try to write the positive value first. Next, question number 22. How many questions are left? Okay, 2 more. Question number 22. The diagram shows circle of radius 3 centimeters. Minor sector angle is 100. Calculate the area of the major sector. So for the major sector, I need this angle. This one is the major sector. That is the minor sector, right? So this should be 260. So for that, we have 260 over 360 into pi r square. R is 3 square. So we can eliminate this. This is times 2, 1, 3 times 18, right? And 9. This should be 9. So we have 13 over 18 into pi, 9 pi. So I can cancel this out. So we have 13 by 2 pi. Okay. Next, write this in the form of this. So they are referring you to write the general form of quadratic equation into this form, which is completing the squared form. Okay. Quadratic form to completing square form. For that, we have some steps to follow. The first thing you have to do is, I'm going to divide this by 2. This is 3, the coefficient of x divided by 2, then square this. Okay, so just write it as 3 square and add it back like this. Now you don't have to show these steps, I'm just showing it to you people. You can just directly write as 3 square. Okay, and then if I'm adding this to this term 3 square by myself, I have to subtract it as well and minus 9. So first 3 terms over here, I'm going to apply the identities. Which one? We have identities a plus b, a square plus 2ab plus b square, which will form a plus b whole square. But if we have 3 terms like this, a square minus 2ab plus b square, they will form a minus b whole square. So all you have to do is, in the first 3 terms, select the first x and select the last 3 and put them in a bracket like this, x plus 3 whole square. Because I applied this identity, sorry, minus a minus 3 whole square. Okay, minus 9 minus 19. So we have minus 28, and that's your answer. X minus 3 whole square minus 28. Use your answer to part A to write down the coordinates of the turning point. So whenever they are asking about the turning point, just remember, turning point will be x minus 3 whole square minus 28. If I put this equal to 0, I will get, if I put this equal to 0, I will get the x coordinate of the turning point. Okay, figure out the x coordinate, put this equal to 0. So x is equal to 3. The x coordinate of the turning point is 3. What is the y coordinate? The y coordinate will be this over here. This is the y coordinate of the turning point. So once it's in a completing square form, whatever is in the bracket, put that equal to 0, that will be the x coordinate of the turning point, and whatever is outside the bracket, a constant, that will be your y coordinate. Next, surds 75 and under root 27. So split them into factor pairs. Like 75 can be made out of 25 times 3. Select a highest square number. There are multiple other ways as well. So select the highest square number. That will be easier for you. And 27 can be split into 9 times 3. Again a square number. So under root 25 is 5. And under root 3 remains the same. You can skip this step and directly write 5 under root 3 plus 3 under root 3. Now when the surds are same, the terms can add. Okay, so 5 under root 3 plus 3 under root 3, that is 8 under root 3. Rationalize the denominator. Give your answer in its simplest form. To rationalize the denominator means to get rid of a surd in the denominator. Even if you get a surd in the numerator, it doesn't matter. The goal is to rationalize the denominator. I have to get rid of the surd from the denominator. So for that, if I refer to an identity, which is a plus b times a minus b, we will always end up as a square minus b square. So if we have 2 terms with a positive sign, that means if I multiply it with the negative sign, I can get rid of the surd. So times it by the same 2 terms with the negative sign. Okay, but if I'm multiplying the denominator, I have to multiply the numerator as well. You can't just multiply the denominator. It's a rule for expression. So now 3 times 2 minus under root 5, 15. Is it 5? Yes, it's 5. Over 2 whole square. I applied the identity. Minus under root 5 whole square. I got rid of the third over here. And that was our goal. 6 minus 3 under root 5 over 4 minus 5. Okay. So we have a minus what? 6 minus 3 under root 5 divided by minus 1. If you divide them by minus 1, the sign will change. You will get 3 under root 5 as positive and this as negative. Okay, that was it. That was the paper. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, that was it, Vichu. And office.